Miami football year number 1 under Manny Diaz. What should the expectations be? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love, you and I, for the hardcore college football fan, the best debate, discussion, and analysis you will find anywhere from the top bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the industry, including some analysis from myself. Please check out my schedule rankings. I am ranking all the schedules in the Power 5 all the way up to number 1, down from number 70. We've released the first 2, so we have just begun. So you don't have much catch-up work to do, and we'll take you all the way up to the most difficult schedule in college football for 2019 and projected records for every team in college football. Of course, we knocked out and posted 32 spring training, spring camp reports for that many teams, many more videos than that, as we focus on a number of teams across the Power 5. We got the Wholesome One, Dwayne Holloway, on the line to talk some Miami football. Wholesome One, how you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. It's always an amazing experience to be here on MarkRogersTV, representing the University of Miami and the U family, talking Canes football.
There it is. So if you were listening to the Wholesome One for the first time right here, you will find out very shortly that he has amazing insight and information and perspective on Miami football. And if you've maybe heard him once or twice but haven't made the move, certainly go over to the Wholesome One on YouTube. So just look it up, HOLSUM, the number 1, the Wholesome One, here on YouTube. So let's wrap up this spring practice. Of course, so much is made of the spring game in particular. But is there anything out there that you would like to address in regards to Miami's move toward August and the Canes' progress?
Absolutely. The number one thing is the mindset. The mindset of our Miami Hurricanes has changed. And the biggest thing that I have noticed is physically, our team looks like 2019 football players. They have an approach to things. As far as just yesterday, there was a social media analyst that comes in and really sat and broke down to the players that you are a brand. Yes, you may wear the U on your chest, the U on the side of your helmet, maybe even a tattoo of the U on your shoulder. But you, the person, you, Amon Richards, you, Nestor Silvera, you, Nkosi Perry, are a brand. And we're starting to modernize things at the University of Miami because anyone who's, I would say, 24 or above, would kind of view the University of Miami as a program that kind of is stuck in the past, thinking that the 01 team and things of that nature is still relevant. And the 90s and 80s teams is still what kind of gets us recruits, but that is not what it is. Today's college football, you have to have done something recently, and you have to have a progressive mindset moving forward, projecting forward into the future, not necessarily always looking to the past. So something as simple as our social media analyst, as our nutritionist, being a young 27-year-old man who coached David Feely, who coached at Temple, and has really changed the offensive lineman look. You know, our tackles look as if they could play tight end. Our guards look as if they could play 3 technique as opposed to having depth hanging out of jersey. For only the second time in about 8 years, we had every single player pass the conditioning test with flying colors. That is something that a lot of teams have with no problem, but the University of Miami was having struggles with. The offensive line might be something that a lot of people are worried about, Mark, but in actuality, this offensive line is gelling together. We even have freshman 2-star Zion Nelson even started to get some first-team reps towards the end of spring and started in the spring game. So therefore, we are all working and creating a high level of competition around the program, and not only as Miami as a totality, but even as small as every single position. And that is what you want to create to become a championship team, is a championship competition at every single position.
We get the Wholesome One on the line, Dwayne Holloway. Check out his YouTube channel, the Wholesome One, HOLSUM, the number 1, here on YouTube, breaking down Miami football. Of course, like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe right here at Mark Rogers TV to build the channel and help us continue to deliver the very best in college football analysis. You can also help us build the channel by doing your Amazon shopping by grabbing the link in the description section of the video you're watching, or any video down in the description section. Grab that Amazon link, do your regular shopping at Amazon. Just use that link. It doesn't cost you a penny more. You don't need to buy the product. Just use it, and that helps us build the channel. So you touch upon something in regards to recruiting, and it's such a tough game. You're battling the best program in the nation right now in the conference. A number of Florida schools, obviously, with all the talent in this state, a number of intruders that come into the state like LSU and Ohio State and others on a regular basis. So any recruiting edge that you can get, and I think that was one of your points to the social media aspect, is not only the current players and educating them on their brand and how they are perceived out there, and the slightest move can put them in a bad light, but also the incoming players, and letting them know that, hey, we're on to social media, we're there, we're present, we know what's going on, and we are up on the times, as you mentioned. The recruiting game obviously has been very important in regards to saving the 2019 class, and now looking towards 2020. It looks like Miami's making some inroads. Any particular guys that have caught your eye, or your overall thoughts about the 2020 class as it stands right now?
Absolutely. Don Chaney Jr. is a game-changing running back. And we haven't had something like that, as far as someone come in and their star system contribute all the way through their college career here at the University of Miami at the running back position. 60 years of Duke Johnson with 2012 through 2014 there. And it's with Don Chaney Jr. he's coming into a running back core that already has a lot of talent added to it, with the likes of DJ Dallas and Cam Harris, who was Cam Davis before he changed his name, and Lorenzo Lingard. Now, Lingard was a consistent either number one or number two running back in the nation, depending on what platform you like to use. And even he hasn't been able to show off here at the University of Miami just yet due to injury. So, we lost a couple of linebackers over the last couple of years, and the last couple of weeks. But the biggest issue to me is I would prefer us be low right now, which I believe we're either 8th or 9th right now. We're top 10 at least. I would prefer us to be there at this point, and then at the end of the season, creep into the top 5, because we had a good season. And 9 times out of 10, that goes hand in hand. If you look at the University of Miami over the last 2 or 3 seasons, we have had one good season, which contributed to a top 8 recruiting class. And we've had 2 other mediocre seasons in between that we had top 25 and top 30 recruiting class. So there is a correlation between winning and the guys, especially in South Florida, coming to the University of Miami and having subpar seasons, and then only getting a couple of those high caliber athletes to come to the U. But we have led the nation in decommits for the last 3 to 4 years. So having someone come in for Junior Day and throw up the UNI uniform, be able to don a turnover chain and things of that nature, if we don't win, then they don't continue to want to come here. Because all of the spark, all of the spaz, all of that type of enjoyment of coming to the University of Miami is now out the window, because the winning, what you really come here for, is not a part of the program anymore. So we have to be able to have those W's, bring in those wins, show these young men that, yes, we might be preaching to you early playing time, but when you come here, you still have to fight for it, as opposed to you just walking in and us handing you a job that you never truly earned. You don't want that problem, and I believe under Al Golden we have that as a big issue. But moving forward, I don't think we'll have that problem anymore under Coach Manny Diaz, Coach Dan Enos, Coach Blake Baker, and strength and conditioning Coach David Feely.
Talking Miami football with the Wholesome One, Dwayne Holloway. Catch him on his YouTube channel, the Wholesome One, HOLSUM. Of course, you're dialed in to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, best debate, discussion, and analysis on the game we all love right here as we approach and hope that while the summer, we don't want the summer to escape from a football standpoint. We do, of course, because August 24th is the first game of the season. And standing alone will be Miami and Florida. I know there's an Arizona-Hawaii game. I can't imagine that there's going to be a whole lot of interest in that one in comparison. So, again, it's going to be a whole lot of fun that this game doesn't have to compete against other big matchups in week one. It's all by itself in Orlando on August 24th. So we talked recruiting, wholesome one. 3 to 4 years later, obviously, that transition goes from high school to college and then onto the NFL ranks. Gerald Willis would, to me, be the big story from a Miami perspective on NFL draft weekend in regards to just his outstanding play and dominant play at a high level against a major competition, not necessarily being enough to overcome some other difficulties he's had, other challenges, adversity that people obviously that run NFL organizations deemed very high, and that kept him off the NFL draft board, but certainly he will get his opportunity.
Absolutely. I actually went in depth for about 10 minutes on my channel with the video entitled Gerald Willis III Undrafted, ? Future Pro Bowl defensive tackle. Now,
okay.
The issue with Gerald... Oh, sorry. What was it, Mark?
No, jump in there. Keep going.
Okay.
My bad.
No, you're fine. The issue with Gerald Willis is off the field. It has absolutely nothing to do with on-the-field production, on-the-field mistakes, anything with on the field, because if anyone turns on the field, let's say theoretically, someone said, okay, I've seen him getting driven off the ball if he isn't making plays in the backfield. Well, I know for a fact that all you would have to do is turn on the LSU film against an SEC opponent. I think they won anywhere from 11 to 12 wins, somewhere in there. And Gerald Willis dominated at least the first half of that football game. And even just that one game would warrant, at minimal, a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Just that one game. But this young man had production all the way through the season. No matter who we played, what time we played, whether it was at home, whether it was away, it didn't matter. Gerald Willis had high production at the University of Miami as a gap attacking 3 technique. Now, the issues off the field as far as at the University of Florida, there were coaches who talked down on him about him. When he was there, when he transferred out to the University of Miami, there were some coaches from that regime also who spoke down and spoke ill on Gerald Willis's attitude. And when it comes to the NFL, there's millions of dollars being invested into players. And when you do things of that nature, sometimes when you're young, when you're 17, 18 years old, we all make decisions and we all say things and do things that we normally would not do once we got older and once we realized exactly what it is that we said or what it is that we did. We wouldn't do that, especially if we could think twice about it. And those things can come back to bite us in our behinds later on in life. And that is what happened with Gerald Willis. And he isn't shying away from it. And that's something that I truly appreciated, reading his tweets. And even though people were talking down on him, he kept his head up consistently. And now he is signed an undrafted free agent contract with my favorite team, the Baltimore Ravens. So one of my favorite players is now playing for, and I think he will make the all-53-man roster and eventually be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro later on down the line, because he's already into his grown man strength, into his hard work ethic skills, as a 24-year-old prospect. So I'm also excited. That might be one of the first jerseys I purchased with my own money as a Gerald Willis Baltimore Ravens jersey. But there are other Miami Hurricanes who were drafted. So let's talk about those guys. Sheldrick Redwine, hard-nosed, strong safety from Miami, Florida, played at Miami Killian Senior High School, came to the University of Miami, went 4th round, 119th overall to the Cleveland Browns. who might be known as the Cleveland Hurricanes / Cleveland Tigers, with all of the Miami Hurricanes and LSU Tigers that play for the Cleveland Browns organization. Those are two programs you would love to draft from and bring a lot of players to your organization. Cornerback Mike Jackson, both he and defensive end and rusher Joe Jackson, both fifth-round picks, went to the Cowboys. Mike Jackson, 158th overall, and Joe Jackson, 165th overall. That fit for both of them is great, especially with Joe Jackson being a part of that nasty, young, aggressive front seven for the Cowboys, especially with them investing in him because of Randall Gregory not being able to stay on the field. David Irving quitting the NFL, and them paying DeMarcus Lawrence a whole bunch of money. They can save a lot of money with similar production with a guy like Joe Jackson as a late round draft pick, and being able to get him in there on nickel downs, dime downs, and third and longs. Michael Jackson is a press man corner, and the best thing for a press man corner is good pass rush. As you can see, Mike Jackson had a lot of production at the University of Miami with his interception rate being over 6 interceptions in a 2-year span as a two-year starter. So when the ball is in the air, he knows how to high point it and attack the football in the air. And I'm far from a Cowboys fan, but with them drafting two of my guys, I might have to be a Cowboy rooter as opposed to a Cowboys fan. One of my favorite players who graduated high school with me, who I was able to watch from also at Miami Killian all the way through his career at the University of Miami, was Jaquan Johnson, a leader, a spiritual leader, an aggressive player, lead by example, but is also vocal, a leader's leader. Free safety, strong safety, nickel, he has reps anywhere across the DB corps. And that's why I believe he will be a steal in the 6th round to the Buffalo Bills, because that young man plays with his heart. And he loves this game of football. And he's very knowledgeable of the game. And he's able to take a leadership role and run with it. And that's something that NFL organizations love to see. Someone who doesn't mind playing special teams, doesn't mind being in an early rotation until they prove themselves. And once they prove themselves and get a job, will not give that job up. And that's what you get in safety Jaquan Johnson. Travis Homer went 6th round, 204th overall to the Seahawks. What a great combination. Yet again, a special teams ace, a leader. Just to see the guys we were bringing in makes me happy to see these people going on to the NFL. And one thing that all the analysts say about them is something had to be great in that Miami Hurricanes locker room, because we are drafting their leaders. And we are drafting real program guys who give their all for the University of Miami. And now we can't wait for them to do the same thing in the NFL and give their all for their organizations, which I think Travis Homer will do the same.
You found your way to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. What we do here is provide the best. We believe in discussion, debate, and analysis from bloggers, broadcasters, and writers across the nation, covering all the Power 5 teams. You get analysis from myself, currently working on schedule rankings and record projections for every team in the Power 5 for 2019, plus just wrapped up spring practice, of course, across the nation. We've got reports from 32 teams, multiple reports, probably 100 videos, 7,000 total. It's all right there for you to dig in. We got the Wholesome One on the line, one of our main Miami contributors. Please join him on his YouTube channel, The Wholesome One, HOLSUM, the number 1, The Wholesome One, for Miami Football Breakdown. All right, so I mentioned off the top, Dwayne, that I dropped that dirty word, expectations, because they run high at a program like Miami, and especially when you have a coaching change and you believe that your team has underachieved based on its talent with the previous coaching regime. There was a bit of a disparity between Cam last night. Cam Underwood, State of the U, for those that did not catch the live stream last night. I would encourage you, for anybody out there that did not catch the live stream, that we did on Wednesday night with Cam Underwood from State of the U, and also Alonzo Oliver just dropped in from Alonzo 1219. Check it out. You will be entertained. I certainly was. Everybody on the live chat certainly was. So check it out. There was a discrepancy there because Zoe was thinking that the Manny Diaz factor in taking the best talent in the division and not having a Clemson on the schedule would convert to a 12-0 season. Cam was a little bit more reserved and hesitant to go that far. I think he's believing 2 to 3 losses is a good season. What are your expectations?
I'm right in the middle. I am right in the middle. I only see one loss on our schedule, whether that be to one of the rivals, as in the University of Florida opening game of the season, or to, I don't really see that loss to Florida State. I really, really don't. So the only other loss I would see is maybe we get a slip up with coming off of a big win, beating Florida. Maybe we go in on Mac Brown's return to UNC, and we don't have our heads together, and maybe we lose at UNC, or maybe a loss to that Virginia. You know, I don't know why Virginia and UNC always play us so tough. You would think when you read the names, of course, Miami, one of the biggest football cities in the world, should be way better than Virginia, and that's no disrespect to the DMV because they have a lot of good talent. Or North Carolina, but for some reason, those two programs, when they play the University of Miami, they play us really, really tough. The reason why I lean towards maybe just one L as opposed to two is because of the simple fact that, yes, we have a new first-time head coach. And maybe there's things that he hasn't done yet, as opposed to knowing when to use those timeouts. I understand that those timeouts don't roll over. You know, maybe if a team's driving on us, maybe you just want to call a quick timeout to calm the defense down a little bit and get the team to rile up together, get them to rally back, and then just head them back on the field. Because you know, first half timeouts are not as important as second half timeouts. Or, you know, maybe he's using those second half timeouts way too early to try to calm everyone down or to stop the bleeding. You know, just how to manage an entire team as opposed to half the team. You're responsible for all three parts of a team now. You're responsible for offense, defense, special teams. Of course, you have your coordinators and things of that nature who are over there, but you're over them. So when things don't work out for the program, or someone's not doing well, or someone says something in the media, well, they're going to come to you because you are now the head man. It is all under your umbrella. And I'm not saying that Manny Diaz can't do that, and I'm not saying that I don't believe that he can. But those are some of the things that I would think about as to, yeah, maybe there's one loss somewhere on this schedule. As I continuously say all the time, and even you have admitted to thinking this the same time, is the University of Miami, when you look at the Coastal, one of the worst divisions in college football, we're always the most talented on the side, but are we going to do the things required to be the champion of our side year in and year out? And the answer to that up until this point is no. We've only done it one time in 15 years, so there's a lot of things that we need to get under control. And I think Manny Diaz would do a great job because he saw what was wrong. He brought in an offensive coordinator who is a former head coach in Central Michigan for 5 years. And he will be able to sit and talk about, okay, what are some things I should do, some of the things that I shouldn't do? When and where should I do these things? And I'm excited to see what Manny Diaz is going to do.
So as I mentioned elsewhere, I'm ranking all the schedules in the Power 5, so that's 70 teams. It goes all the way up to number 1. I start, of course, at the bottom and work my way up. I'm at number 68, need to release that sometime today. Miami does not have a brutal schedule. They have a competitive schedule. They play in a weak division, but it's not necessarily the worst in college football, but it's arguably the worst in college football. They play Louisville on the other side, which was the worst team in the conference last year. They play Florida State, who went 5-7 last year, should be, I would hope, a 7 or 8 win team this coming season. They, of course, play a top 10 to 15 team in the nation in Florida, but the other 3 non-conference games are nothing to write home about. So the schedule is not deplorable, but it's fairly weak. So my schedule ranking is going to be coming up for Miami fairly soon with my record projection as well. Not my final prediction, but my projection at this point. So I will not expound on my expectations for Miami football, but people can stay tuned, and it's coming your way fairly soon. Dwayne Holloway on the line, the Wholesome One. Please check out his YouTube channel, and of course, lock it in here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, for the best debate, discussion, and analysis. All right, sir. I think we've covered a lot of ground. I appreciate you stopping by. You're always welcome. You know that.
Of course. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mark. And just a little shout out to me. I have reached the 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
Mark. I am super excited. I achieved that on the 30th, April 30th. So that was my goal, was to get it done before May 1st, and I got it done. So
that is tremendous. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You have been a huge part of that. So just wanted to put that in there.
Well, I hope I've helped along the way. You've certainly helped me. It was my goal to get to 10,000 by May 1st. I didn't quite hit it, but I should get there in the next 7 or 8 days, something in that range based on my pace. So we need about 160, and I typically pick up about 500 to 600 to 700 a month. So we should be there fairly soon. So, yeah, I got to come up with a good idea on how to celebrate 10,000. So if you come up with any great ideas, certainly pass them my way.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right, Wholesome One, we appreciate it. You have a great day. And, of course, we'll talk Canes very soon.
All righty. Have a great day, guys. Go Canes.